Lost. I am lost.
Were you a Jedi?
No, but I was once a Force wielder. Long ago, long ago.
Darth Maul is by far one of the most famous Star Wars villains of all time. Between his iconic look and double-bladed lightsaber, he quickly became a fan favorite. But while his look was iconic, he had nowhere near the fame of other Star Wars villains, such as Darth Vader, Palpatine, or Boba Fett. His character barely had any time to develop, as in The Phantom Menace, which is his only live-action film, he had exactly 2 lines of dialogue and 6 minutes of screen time before he was sliced in half and presumably killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi. In the sequel, Attack of the Clones, Count Dooku replaced Maul as a Sith apprentice, making Maul's entire arc short-lived and almost pointless. So why is he now considered one of the best Star Wars villains of all time? Well, my friends, that is thanks to a man by the name of Dave Filoni.
Your legs. That scum! He took them from me! He took them! Who took them? Jedi! Jedi.
Arise, Maul. Reborn son of Darth Maul.
Revenge. I must have revenge.
Filoni decided to bring back Maul for Season 4 of the Clone Wars show. Now, you might be asking, how? How could someone survive being cut in half by a literal laser sword, and then falling down a massive chasm? Well, at the time, this was the first occurrence of this happening. Well, unlike now. And I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of skeptical. If he survives, it completely undermines his death in A Phantom Menace, so it had to actually add substance to the story, which a lot of the time reviving characters doesn't. But man, was I surprised. Right off the bat, we get this crazy Maul with 8 legs in a world full of trash. Maul has literally gone insane, and the only thing he remembers is his own name and his hatred for a singular Jedi who placed him there, Obi-Wan Kenobi. For the last 10 years, he has only been surviving on grime, which he finds in the trash, and his hatred for Kenobi. He's rescued by his brother, Savage Opress. Maul is brought back to Mother Talzin on Dathomir, his real mother who he was taken from as a child by Darth Sidious. Using Night Sister magic, she gives Maul the craziest glow up I've ever seen, by giving him a fresh new pair of legs, trimming down his horns, and removing his insanity. I don't know how you do that, but that's kind of cool. Also, an interesting little detail, when he falls onto the bench, his legs fall apart before Mother Talzin begins his transformation, meaning he has been using the Force to keep his legs together for the last 10 years. And honestly, this scene is somewhat reminiscent of Darth Vader's transformation in Revenge of the Sith, but rather than giving a corny-ass line, he shrieks to the demons of Dathomir. Much cooler. Obviously, his first course of action is to seek out Kenobi. He does what every logical person would do, and commits mass homicide of a village, killing not just the men, but the women and the children too. Once Kenobi arrives, Maul delivers this absolutely chilling line.
You cannot imagine the depths I would go to stay alive, fueled by my singular hatred for you.
And also, may I just say that Sam Witwer does an incredible job of voice acting Maul, and every line he delivers is absolutely frightening. Maul, with the help of Savage, makes quick work of Kenobi, and brings him back to the ship to beat him to a pulp. Luckily for Kenobi, Savage has an op by the name of Asajj Ventress, who comes to kill Savage but ends up rescuing Kenobi instead. Fast forward, and Maul and Savage attempt to start a criminal empire, starting by taking over Hondo's pirates. This fails, but leads to this absolutely brutal death scene. Yeah, somehow this is a kid's show. Maul and Savage end up meeting with a group of Mandalorians by the name of Death Watch. God damn, that's a cool name. And they devise a strategy to take over Mandalore and begin their criminal empire. The new group goes around recruiting groups into their crime syndicate. After some coaxing, most decide to join them. And once again, may I remind you, this is a kid's show. They quickly retake Mandalore, with the crime syndicates taking over their own areas of the planet. But it's now time for Death Watch to betray them all. Death Watch captures many of the crime syndicate members, along with Maul and Savage. They quickly gain favor with the Mandalorian public, and become the new leaders of Mandalore. Maul, on the other hand, has a separate plan to take over. Using the warrior creed of the Mandalorians, he challenges the leader of Death Watch, Pre Vizsla, to a duel to the death, where the winner rules Mandalore. Vizsla accepts, and a crazy battle breaks out. The choreography is fantastic, and the red blade clashing with the black blade looks incredible. After a little bit, Maul manages to get the upper hand, and Vizsla, rather than cowering, gives the most badass final words I've ever heard.
Like you said, Only the strongest shall rule.
Might I add, this is a kid's show. Many Mandalorians declare their allegiance to Maul as the rightful ruler, but Bo-Katan declares he's an imposter and a large group of Mandalorians side with her, beginning a Mandalorian civil war. Kenobi once again gets involved to rescue his close friend Satine, who is currently in prison. Maul, wanting to inflict as much pain as possible on Kenobi, kills Satine in front of him and then imprisons him as well. But sadly, Maul's reign can't last forever, and the one and only Emperor Palpatine shows up to put a stop to it. Maul senses his presence immediately, tries to reason with Palpatine, but Palpatine is in no mood and pulls out his double blade and starts absolutely f***ing them up. This guy is literally laughing while he duels. Also, might I add that this is arguably one of the best animated Star Wars duels of all time. The choreography is fantastic and the emotion of the scene can really be felt. Palpatine manages to slaughter Savage right in front of Maul, once again taking what little Maul had right from his arms. Savage dies in Maul's arms, admitting that he was never actually his brother, as Palpatine cackles in the background, reminding him of the main rule of the Sith.
Remember, the first and only reality of the Sith, there can only be two. And you are no longer my apprentice. You have been replaced.
Palpatine then makes quick work of an enraged Maul, leaving him begging for mercy. But after this, Maul gets imprisoned and is used as bait so Palpatine can kill Mother Talzin. I'm not going to go too much into it, but if you're interested, read the Son of Dathomir comics, which are absolutely fantastic. Anyway, all you need to know is a Mandalorian to remain loyal to Maul, along with his crime syndicate members, breaks him out of Palpatine's prison and brings him back to Mandalore. This now leads us to the Clone Wars Season 7. Bo-Katan's Mandalorian faction has allied with the Republic to commence the invasion of Mandalore. Darth Maul, by this point, is going slightly insane, as he has visions of what his master has been planning, Order 66, and the fall of the Republic. But most of all, he envisions Palpatine's next apprentice, the Jedi General Anakin Skywalker. That's why he wishes for the Republic to join the war, as he wants to lure Anakin to Mandalore to kill him, removing his master's prized possession. Unfortunately for him, the ex-Jedi Ahsoka Tano arrives instead, which leads to arguably one of the best duels in Star Wars. Before the duel, Maul hints at the terrors of what's to come, how the dark side, and specifically Darth Sidious himself, are about to take over, and how at the center of all of it is a Jedi by the name of Anakin Skywalker. The duel then commences with some beautiful animation, graphics, and stunning choreography. To make the duel feel as realistic as possible, they actually had Ray Park, Maul's actor from The Phantom Menace, come in and have a motion capture for the animated Maul. He does a fantastic job of demonstrating both Maul's acrobatics and brute force. The duel ends with one of the most chilling lines in all of Star Wars.
You're all going to burn! We're all going to die! You don't know what you're doing!
You can genuinely hear the fear in his voice, knowing he will be handed back to his old master, the man who has tortured him physically and mentally his entire life. He also understands that now there's nothing in the way of Sidious's plans, and he will become Emperor of the Universe. And as Maul is imprisoned on the Venator, which is heading back to Coruscant, Palpatine's grand plan unfolds, Order 66. The clones turn against ex-Jedi Ahsoka Tano, who is forced to free him for their survival, and Maul's rampage of the Venator commences. He absolutely decimates squads of clone troopers, blows up the hyperdrive and navigation, and literally cuts someone's arm off with a door. Once again, this is a kid's show. After his rampage, Maul escapes the Venator, and we don't see him for a while. He appears at the end of Solo: A Star Wars Story, which may be confusing to some non-Clone Wars fans. Honestly, in my opinion, it feels kind of forced and doesn't add much to Star Wars, but it doesn't hurt much either, so it doesn't really matter to me. The next major appearance he has is in the Season 2 finale of Star Wars Rebels. Maul attempts to take control of a Sith temple to enact revenge on all his enemies, but his plans end up getting foiled by the Jedi Ezra Bridger, Kanan Jarrus, and Ahsoka Tano, along with Darth Vader. Maul later attempts to use Ezra to find Obi-Wan Kenobi's location, and succeeds by using the Night Sister magic. Maul discovers that Obi-Wan is hiding on the planet where Maul first met Qui-Gon Jinn, Tatooine. The entire episode of him using Ezra once again to track down Obi-Wan is a joy to watch, and the final confrontation is beautiful storytelling. Maul attempts to taunt Obi-Wan by speaking of how far he's fallen, but his lines fall flat and he begins to fill with rage, with the realization that Kenobi is there to protect someone, that person being what he believes is the chosen one. Obi-Wan's expression immediately shifts as he ignites his lightsaber, preparing for a final confrontation. Maul takes the first move, attempting to strike down Obi-Wan the same way in which he strikes down Qui-Gon. But Obi-Wan, anticipating this, quickly slices Maul right down the chest, ending their rivalry once and for all. Maul, a being of pure hatred and rage, dies in the arms of his arch-rival, Obi-Wan, and says he will avenge us. I like to believe in his final moments he realized the true villain all along. The man who tortured him and practically controlled his whole life was his old master, Darth Sidious. He realized how Sidious's teachings imprisoned him rather than freed him, and how Sidious himself never cared for him at all. Honestly, this duel is extremely well done. Unlike every duel in Star Wars, it's extremely quick and demonstrates what a more realistic duel would be. It's fitting that the man to free him from his suffering was the very man he believed had caused that suffering his entire life. Maul is easily one of the most tragic stories in Star Wars and demonstrates another layer to Palpatine's brutality. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, comment down below what you think, and peace out.